real pleasure to be here today, especially here in British Columbia, which is where I also live. This is a topic that's very near and dear to my heart with the new carbon economy, academia, research, commercialization. So it's so great to be here with you and to share this time with people who have common passions. I'd like to tell you just a little bit about my company, which I founded in 2012, called CarbonCure. I should say that it was the product of my thesis. So I was studying at McGill University and working on how to utilize CO2 beneficially in the terms of concrete production. So it's been a wonderful journey all the way from ideation through piloting and fundraising and all the fun with HR and continuing to scale the business. So I feel like it's been a very rewarding journey. So I operate in the concrete industry. Concrete is the most widely produced man-made material on Earth, and it accounts for 7% of worldwide GHG emissions. Most of that is attributed to the actual cement production itself. So it is an essential building material that we use for society, but it has a very large carbon footprint. It's one as well that has a unique set of limitations where decarbonizing the concrete industry or cement requires chemical alternatives and process design rather than just changing energy. What we do is we have developed carbon utilization technology for the concrete industry. It also has a carbon removal component to it as well, in that we actually retrofit existing concrete plants. I firmly believe that we don't have the time and certainly not the capital to go and build out all new greenfield development. So there has to be a lot of climate solutions as well that can be retrofitted. And there's about 100,000 concrete plants in every single community around the world. And all of those concrete plants can be retrofitted in a day with no capital cost to the operator, so that they can actually begin utilizing CO2, permanently mineralizing that CO2 in concrete, and also achieving some financial savings. And I'll tell you a bit about how we do that through business model innovation. So we're founded in Halifax, Nova Scotia. I live here in Victoria, British Columbia. About half the team is located in Nova Scotia. We have installed about are licensed and or installed about 800 systems worldwide, and that's in 35 countries, starting in Nova Scotia. And our first markets was the US, following that was Singapore. And then from there, it just really took off into a number of different marketplaces. We're winners of the Carbon X Prize, which was a 5-year competition, and we're currently participating in the Carbon Removal X Prize now as well, which is a $100 million competition. And these are some of our investors here on the bottom. Not all of them, but there's some fantastic investors that have been allies in our journey to scale this technology through the different stages of development. So here, I think, is our latest map of deployment and where we're operating. So that we've provided about 6 million truckloads of concrete. That's about 50 million cubic yards of concrete to any type of project that you can think of. So our first project started with, in Nova Scotia, was actually a masonry block wall, and a friend who was a developer who was building a home in Halifax. And now we're doing high-rise skyscrapers, airports. But most of the concrete in the world is used on very low spec applications, which I think is really key, is you have to develop technology not only for the vanity projects, but you really get the climate impact from the basic stuff, like fence hole posts, sidewalks, home foundations, driveways. That's where the volume is. So that's really where you need to think about developing technology that can apply for the larger climate impact rather than just having those vanity projects. And not only in developed countries, but also all the emerging economy, because that's really where concrete is being poured today. That's where the population growth is occurring and all that infrastructure development is happening. So it's actually more important that you're successful in places like Nigeria or Latin America, Southeast Asia, so much growth happening there. than it is in the US. And that's because that's where all the concrete is being poured. That's where you're going to have your impact. I've covered that off already. Right, I thought some of these were going to be hidden, but here's basically how the technology works: is that we add CO2 into concrete as it's being mixed. The carbonate will react with with a calcium ion and then precipitate out as calcium carbonate. And those tiny particles as well will provide a seeding reaction to enhance the hydration of cement, thereby providing a higher strength concrete. And so not only are you mineralizing CO2, but enhancing that hydration process allows you to achieve strength benefits. And once you have a strength benefit for concrete, then you can develop a new business model where you actually allow them to take out cement from their concrete mix, cement being the main contributor to the carbon footprint of concrete. So we have two climate impacts: mineralizing CO2 and using less cement. We also generate carbon credits from the reduction and removal of CO2. So this is a really key area that I'd love to talk to people about. Is really, as entrepreneurs, you have to be thinking about innovation, not only in terms of technology, but definitely in business model. And if you can create these two revenue streams, and for us, it's carbon credits is certainly a really key area of how we provide this technology at no cost to the industry, and actually have two types of customers. So we work with concrete producers, and then we work with those kinds of companies that purchase credits to meet their corporate climate commitments. So these are airlines, banks, tech companies. We've sold a lot of credits in the voluntary carbon market. So here's one of our projects that we love to talk about. It's a vanity project, even though it makes for a better slide than someone's driveway. So this is HQ2 in Washington, or near Washington and Arlington. And it was one of the first sort of major projects that used CarbonCure, and Amazon's also a really important partner of ours as well in terms of technology development and as an investor. Thank you very much.